Hey creatives! Welcome to my channel. This is Sammy Says Create, and this is a channel where I do all sorts of DIY and creative projects and I bring you along for the ride. So today's video is a very useful video if, like me, you have a phobia of cotton wool. Ugh, I hate it. It makes that horrible squeaking noise when you touch it. Ugh. I'm going to show you how to make reusable bamboo makeup pads. They're really easy to make, they're great for the planet. Without further ado, let's roll those titles. Today's video, I am going to be showing you how to make these reusable bamboo face makeup pads. Face makeup pads? Makeup pads. This is a really great and sustainable alternative to makeup wipes and cotton pads and stuff like that. Ugh, cotton pads. Instead of just constantly throwing out those cotton pads every single night when you take your makeup off, you can wash this and you can reuse it. Not only that, but it's so much nicer and smoother on your skin than those horrible scratchy things. It's like a fluffy cloud. These are really easy to make with just a couple of simple steps for it, and they are really quite small, so if you buy quite a lot of material you can make multiples of these. They're dead quick, dead easy. You can potentially hand sew these as well if you don't have a sewing machine. The first thing that you're going to need is some bamboo toweling. This is what's called a terry toweling material, and this is actually bamboo terry toweling. I think I've got a metre here, which cost me about £10, which was really cheap, so I will link the store down below that I got this. It was just an Etsy shop. You will also need a pair of scissors for cutting your material, a ruler just so we can measure it out, some chalk or a pen or anything just to mark on your material, some matching thread. I would normally use a white, I think, for this, but I'm just going to use this nice bright pink just so you guys can see where I'm stitching. And I've got some pins as well, or clips, just to clip it all into place. And the material that I'm going to be using for the other side of the makeup wipes, just to make them a little bit more interesting, is this 100% cotton material that I've got down here. I read online that this 100% cotton is quite good to use for this, as it's quite sturdy. It's really good for being re-washed and still keeping its structure. Your first step here, which I'm not going to show you, is to make sure that your materials is all washed and dried and ironed before we start. So I think that's all I need to tell you for now. I'm going to grab my sewing machine and let's get on to the tutorial. I started off by just choosing which colour I wanted to use for my face pads. So the method I'm going to show you I found was a really good way of producing quite a few of these at a time, so it really just sped up the process if you want to make multiples of these. Here you can see I'm measuring 4 inches down. I'm just popping a couple of marks across the whole material just so it's all even. I'm going to draw a line, and that is where I'm going to fold the material over. And this way I will get double the amount of squares that I'm actually cutting. Now I'm marking every 4 inches across the fold that we've just done. I'm just going to draw a line top to bottom, and that will be our square. And then I just simply cut these squares out. And I'm going to exactly repeat the same process just with the bamboo toweling. I did actually find it just a little bit easier to lay the pre-cut squares onto the toweling material and just cut round them. However, if you are a little bit of a stickler for exact measurements, just go ahead and measure it out like we already have done. So while I was on a roll and I got this down to a pretty speedy time, I cut out a couple of different squares of colours. I then got a square of the toweling and a square of the cotton material. I placed the cotton material on top of the toweling, right side down. So the right side of the material is facing towards the cotton towel. I then clipped it, or you could pin it, all the way around the square just to keep it nice and tight, ready for sewing. I then sewed all the way around the outside of the pad, so it's just a really small hem here, so maybe like 1/4 of an inch, something like that. And remember to do a couple of front stitches and back stitches when you start. When you reach the edge of one piece, just keep your needle in the material, lift up your foot, flip your material around and then pop your foot back down. Make sure you remember to leave a small gap at the end so that we can turn the pad the right way round. Now I'm just trimming off any extra material and just rounding the corners. They weren't all this uneven, I promise. I think just a couple of squares are a little bit bigger because of the way it measured. But rounding those corners off will just make sure it's not quite as bulky and it's easier to sew through when we do the top stitch. Using the little gap that we left, we're now going to flip the pad the right way around. And now we just need to seal that gap that's still open. So just tuck those edges slightly inwards and clip them, and we'll go over it when we do the top stitch so those edges will stay in nice and neat. And now just to finish off, I'm just top stitching the whole of the pad. So it's only a really small hem again, just make sure it's small enough to catch those folded bits that you've just done so they do stay in place. And yeah, just try and be a little bit neater than me, I suppose. I'll get there one day, I will be able to sew straight one day. I'm now going to make a face cloth in exactly the same way, so I won't kind of talk through it again, but I'll just let you see what I'm doing. But this time I'm going for 10 inches by 10 inches. This can also be used as a body cloth in the shower, and you can really customize this and just make them whatever size you want and whatever size you need them for. So here we go, I'll let you just watch me turn this into a face cloth. And there we have our completed reusable bamboo makeup remover pads and face cloth or body cloth, whatever you want to do with it. So much better for your skin and so much better for the environment. What's not to love? So soft and nice. So there we go, reusable bamboo face cloths and makeup pads. These ones here are the perfect size just to get rid of all your extra makeup. So I am definitely replacing those horrible cotton pads with these, and these are going to be so much better. Please let me know down below what you thought of this video. Is this something that you would do? Would you look at maybe swapping out your face wipes for one of these instead? If you have liked today's video, then please do show me some love by liking down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and that way you will get a notification every time I upload a video and you will not miss out. To keep up with all my crafty stuff during the week, feel free to follow my Instagram. So that is it for this week's video. Until next Thursday, keep creative. Bye.